coming today from the Dubai in the United Arab Emirates to wrap up the conference for us. So I'm very excited about welcoming Omar Mourad to be here with us. Omar is the group manager for systems and process department at the ECC group. Hello there, Omar. Omar, he's a construction industry expert with more than 27 years of experience in project management and business process management. Omar's experience covers a vast range of construction projects, which added to his experience and allow him to be more exposed in the problems and issues of significant construction projects. Omar, it's a real pleasure to have you with us. You are in a very different time zone, but we have a global audience here from all over the world. We're very eager to hear your lessons coming directly from Dubai in the beautiful UAE today.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Jose. Thank you all audience for this, for sharing me and for attending my presentation, which will be, the presentation will be for business process management journey in a construction group of companies here in Dubai. Just as a start here, actually engineering contracting company is a construction company established in 1979. And it has, after that, actually some other sister companies working in the same field of the construction industry, like BTOES in the design, interior design, fit out and general work, United Master for electromechanical, BMI for aluminium work and structural steel, Aurora for real estate industry development, Corsair facility management, etc. Now, let's have some discussion about our the start of our journey. ECC actually sorry for just engineering contracting company group actually is a well-established construction group in Dubai, UAE, and it has high reputation, excellent project profile with long experience of more than 45 years in the market. 3 years ago, the management of the company recognized the need for business process for department specialized in business process management. The reasons actually very common reasons, like for example increase the efficiency, because they found a lot of lack of efficiencies in some areas and they need to ensure that their business is more efficient and more competitive. Also customer satisfaction, better business sustainability. For all these reasons, and also some other wastages were found in the processes and redundancy, as I'm going to explain more in the next slides. So at the start, we had nothing called standardized business process actually within the company, or even documented processes. All work were being implemented based on the best understanding of employees. And when I say best understanding of employees, I mean each human being has different understanding than other, and which was the case exactly in many cases we found it. With certain processes being implemented in different way in one project or other, or in one location other than other. ERP system, what we have, has some workflows, but were primitive, and we were not able to do any business process in it. The level of redundancy in our processes were very high, and also extra, and for example, extra unnecessary signatures, reviewers, task owners, yes, extra task owners in many cases actually. So, and the next point, deviations, it was something expected. Any process could be implemented in a different way, or sometimes the same process is implemented, but some area they are doing it in totally different way. I think for you to give, maybe you don't know about construction industries, that's why I think it's very important to give you some elaboration or overview about the construction industry, so you can understand why the business process management in construction could be having some more difficulties than other industries. In general, construction companies are project-based companies. Majority of the business processes in any company are done in the project environments. Any project in a construction company is actually a temporary and smaller sized business. It has its own organization chart and business processes. Normally, project contracts determines actually the formalities and protocols of communications, correspondences, submittals, approvals, and many other things. Business processes in any project could be classified based on what we see it actually in ECC in 3 different categories. There could be internal general business process. I'm going to explain each of these in the following slides. Or internal project-specific business processes, or external project-specific business processes. Now here, this figure illustrates to us the structure of the company, our projects, and the clients. This is ECC, let's say, or any construction company. A construction company has projects, project 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. Each project is part of the company, but it has a contract which determines or dictates the way of communication with the client. And in construction projects, this type of communication is relatively very high or huge. Now, based on this structure for the project, this 2 binding organizational structure or matrix organization, we can see that project business processes are either internal or our own company processes, or external related to each client of each process. Now, when we come to the internal processes, we see there could be general core or supportive business processes related to the company itself, not directly affected or influenced by the nature of the project. Just an example here, we have, like, for example, purchasing process, internal purchasing process, or leave application or so. These are general, not affected by the nature of each project. Again, we have internal processes that are project specific, which means if project 1 is a very complicated project and the project management team has many people and many levels of managers working, so the way they are running the sites and the resources is different than if project B2, for example, which could be a small project. So within one project and other, between one project and other, our processes may differ just because of the different organization chart of our people in each project and the different arrangement or complications for each project. But all of them are our processes. Now, when we come to the parts that are related to the client, based on the contract, specifies many business processes, how they should be done. Part of project management and, control or dictates the communication protocols, or how to make submittals for material approvals, so submittals for shop drawings for subcontractors, or all approval steps or inspections for the work. This differs from one client to other. We might have some similarities, but in principle, they are not necessarily the same. So based on this arrangement, you can see that majority of our processes are in projects, but project processes have this sort of, let's call it complication, if I may call it like this. That's why we have some difficulties in dealing with business processes in a construction company. Just for more clarification, the general business processes are normally revised for improvement reasons, but for project-specific processes, they are changed, not revised, because of the nature of project. If I have a project, we have to change it because different project may have different processes. So we need to review the business processes which are project-specific for each project, whether we need to change or not. And of course, for external, for sure, this is dependent on each project alone. So the nature of the project And the start point of our department in the ECC group made our process and task mining a little bit difficult. So the status at the start of the work affected our process and task mining. Process-related data in electronic system were not sufficient at all for us. The concept of process owner was not there at all. So we were searching where are the processes actually. And I will tell you the approach we followed just to know the task owners and the things here. Difficulties in identifying lists of processes, scope and boundaries, priorities of improvement, etc. Many processes were linear. Yes, linear actually, and they can be, many tasks can be concurrently running, but they are following them in linear. And the lack of concurrency affected us a lot. Actually, a lot of time were being, consumed because of this linear processes. Some processes, for example, used one hard copy form, which may, with many fields, and need several or many signatures. So the same form, I give you some example for some of the forms for the end of service settlement form, it should go through 3 different departments. Each department makes some review, adds some data, and sign on it. So the 3 departments reviews were in the same page of the form, hard copy. So it has to go in one department, then the next, then the third one. After that, it should go for several signatures. This form by itself forced the whole process to be linear and sequential, even though many tasks can be run concurrently. For example, after the exit interview, there are several departments, they should do something for the resigning employee, but because they are waiting the form, it was not possible. Now, the other point, lack of sufficient awareness of full scope of processes, it was one of the big problems actually we faced at the beginning. And of course, the management of our company recognized these things, and that's why they decided to have a department for business processes. Actually, I think in Dubai, maybe, I'm not sure, maybe we are one of the very few companies, construction companies, having such a department here in ECC. Now, another issue was disputed sequence of tasks and roles of task owners. Yes, sometimes sequence of tasks, when we talk to one task owner, what is the sequence, what is your predecessor and successor? When we go to the other in the stream, upstream or downstream, we see people saying something different. No clear definition or understanding of the exact scope of each task. And this point was very important and significant for us. That's why we did something we call a task matrix, which I'm going to explain in more details in the coming slides, actually. High rate of redundancy, of course, I mentioned this before. We have redundancy even in the owners. We found cases like, for example, one person is doing one review, other person is doing another review, but for these 2 reviews can be done in one person. So why we are keeping things to go from one person to another? Deviations and revisions could occur at any time. Issues related to legacy systems. As I mentioned to you, our company is well established and has long, established long time ago. So I found cases where we have very old and traditional way of doing some processes, and in the other part, because actually we are investing a lot in the technology and IT, in the other part, I see some processes are being done in a very high IT or sophisticated systems. As I mentioned, the company management actually investing a lot in the technology, but still there are in the system, in the processes, somewhere here and there, processes done in a very, very traditional way of doing the work. Now, we found, because of the following difficulties, we found that we have first to establish the roles and responsibility for each department. We went for each employee in the departments, and we did something like this. I'm just giving extract of our tables or matrices. Like, for example, employee A, designation is this, HR support officer reporting to the manager, HR manager is doing, he is telling us I'm doing perform employee duty resumption after leave in the ERP system. So what we do here, we check with all the employees who is doing anything for the leave, and we take them and we see these are the task owners now, and this is the process of the leave application, and we start to make direct interviews with the task owners. Of course, sometimes we find that task owners, not all of them are required. We can reduce them to a less number. During our work for the task matrix, which I mentioned before, but I will explain it in the next slides, and due to the fact that the actions that should be done or the scope of each task was not clear, we had to make what we call it the task matrix, but this task matrix should have an efficient process ID system. Our process ID system, we went into 2 or 3 trials. This one was the one which we are now using. We have the company 01, which is ECC, the department 02 here, which is planned. 001 is the serial number of the process. This is process 1, let's say preventive maintenance. And -01, which is the revision 1 for this process. If you see, this is the ID of the process. Now I have here the task number, which is T01, T02, which shown in the workflow, but it's not in the name of the process itself. The task matrix, which I mentioned before, it shows clearly each task. Let's say T01, task number 1. What are the actions, the very specific actions that should be done by the certain employee who is responsible to do this? And if he does this, this is what we call it the task. Otherwise, less not, more no need. Now, to do that, we are showing also in the task matrix, which is here. Let's have this one. We are showing the task description. This is the actions here. But let's see here, input to the task. So anyone, if the responsible person here, he knows that if I have these items ready, I can do these actions, and I should make this output clear and ready as required. As you see here, we have also the form shown. So by having this, first of all, it shows clearly how, shows the specific list of actions that should be done, which also solve one of the biggest problems we faced at the beginning of our work. No deviations at all, no missing information or actions. Actually, not only no deviations, now people are becoming more engaged in what we are doing, and they are sometimes proposing to us some innovative ideas to remove or to change some actions, but to make the same scope for the process with less time or more efficient work. Task owners will know exactly what is the start of their task. They should not do the task if they don't have all the required input ready for them. And they should not consider themselves finish the task if the output is not clear for them. Now, if I go back a little bit here to the task actions, as you see, there are no numbering system here in the task. I just give them bullets. But we are preparing ourselves in the near future to number also the actions and the input and the output. The reason here is for our digital transformation journey, because now, based on what we see for digital transformation, it's not only bringing system or applications and implement them directly in the work. We need to make all our work, the infrastructure, ready for digital transformation. To do so, we found that task actions, if we have them like this with numbers, this will help us a lot, because we will be having classification for each task. For example, it's a data entry task, action, classification for each action, sorry. For example, it's a data entry action, it's a human judgment action, or a human review, or it's a collection of a field data, or a decision or so. So by having all these classifications for our actions here with the numbers, by time we are having everything ready actually for digital transformation, and not only that, for our manpower and human resource planning, for KPIs, because now with time motion studies for these actions, we will be knowing how much time we are supposed to consume based on the number of tasks and actions and the frequency of instances we have. So the task matrix actually is becoming now like a holy book for all people. Even now, people are asking us if there is a process, we show them the workflow. They ask us to expedite the finishing of the task matrix because they are using it like a blueprint or a workshop drawing for them. Based on our experience for the business process and management in our company, we found that business process management system is something really needed and should consider our need for this as a construction company. I mentioned, the complications of the processes for projects at the beginning, and our ERP system cannot manage the processes. So we need a very efficient business BBMS system, BBMS, to allow us have more efficient management for our processes. Now, the company has already an ERP system, but as I said, it's not sufficient for us. It cannot do any professional business process management. Currently, we are actually looking for BBMS to implement in our company. Based on our market search, we told all those application or vendors, BBMS vendors, that we need a system. This is what we need. This is what we think is important for us, that give us easy integration with our ERP database, powerful workflow engine, form builder, powerful reporting capabilities, and dashboards. When we come to dashboard, we need the dashboard to give us different levels. We need at the process level and task level. When I say process level, I need to know now how many processes, how many instances in each process are now implemented or triggered or running in the system. Who is delaying some processes? Do we have one person is not doing the work properly? Do we have one department or one project is always facing difficulties in implementing its processes? And then when we come to the one process level, we need to know the tasks, how they are implemented. These are extremely valuable for us because in the construction industry, actually, the ambiguity of the work is very high. Because as I said, we have projects which are temporary business, small business. These businesses are established and then closed after 2 years, let's say. So we need to have all these capabilities ready for us to be able to consider the construction industry ready for digital transformation. It's not only to have the applications and just implement them. We have many applications now for construction industry available in the market, but believe me, from our experience, and I'm very much confident about what I'm saying in the area I see it, construction industry needs much more than only applications to go for digital transformation. We need to think in a way to have all our work ready for really digital era, and also to be able to analyze our work at all different levels, as I mentioned here, the process level or the task level, and what type of monitoring we have. I'm just mentioning here examples, but actually we have more requirements, but I know the time is limited. I have time limitation here. Now, if I want to bring BBMS to the company, we have our ERP. It will be a layer on top of our ERP. And this is the database of our ERP. This is the user interface of our ERP, data entry, retrieval, transactions. And I have calculations and data processing. I have reporting, and this is the database of the ERP system. If I put the BBMS on top of it, there will be another database for the BBMS. Of course, it's specified for the BBMS work. But this arrangement is not easy, actually. I really hope and wish to have a different arrangement. Now, what I think, BBMS should be given more roles on the account of the ERP. ERP is very good for data as a data reservoir. It's very good to have some transactions, but it's not what we have now in the market. Maybe I'm wrong, but what we have seen is cannot be used as a business process management system at all. But if we think about our work is running through business processes. So what I cannot consider digital transformation is happening without having BPMS. I should have all my processes run in the electronic medium. But to do so, I should have BPMS. To have BPMS, I should put it on top of the ERP. Putting on top, I have difficulties in the integration with the database. I have difficulties or inefficiencies in retrieving some of the calculations or data processing, reporting. So what I think is, I wish, let's say, if we can have a case where the BPMS becomes having more role in the work, take some of the role of the ERP. At least if we can have such arrangement like this: BPMS user interface, business process management modules, transactions, data entry through forms in BPMS. And also we have the database here, which is the ERP original database, plus whatever needed for BPMS to be added in our one comprehensive database. And because we don't need to lose the calculations and data processing, this should be communicating directly with the layer of BPMS and the reporting also. So if we have this arrangement, I don't think ERP should remain the same. There should be some, convergence between ERP and BPMS, something to happen, because actually what I see digital transformation is to run through BPMS is very important. This is my point of view based on the experience we have here in our company, of course. Now, we started in our company the automation. We started to implement our RPAs, robotic process automation. We start now in a pilot project actually, but we have planned for much more. RPA is very important in construction. Construction is a resource-intensive industry, and it has many items or huge amount of data generated in daily basis. This data could not be collected and recorded at all, and if I say completely, we are recording maybe a few % of it. And we have many people are filling a lot of forms every day. So there is a very big room for RPA development within any construction company. Now, when I say there is a big room to develop in any construction company, we need to know where exactly. Actually, we can have this example chart to show us where exactly we can have the areas for automation. We have 3 areas. The arrow here shows us the level of complication for automation. The first one is the normal thing, normal data entry for 2 applications, direct, straightforward, which is now happening everywhere for, as a straightforward action area. The second area, in the construction industry, we have many applications. Some of them are engineering applications, some of them project management, some of them are accounting and finance, timesheets. We have a lot of applications. In no way we can assume there is smooth integration between the databases of all these applications. And sometimes, not sometimes, many times we have the case where we are adding data here which is similar to another data we are adding to another application. That's why the risk of having duplication of work is there. The risk of having conflict in the data is there in some areas, of course, not all areas. So RPA could be a very good solution to have the cross applications migration of data. This is very important in the construction industry, at least for the coming few years. until we see some more advancement or something else, I don't know. But now this is another area where we can use RPAs. The third area is a little bit more complicated, and actually because I worked long time in the project management, I saw that we can use RPA and to perform some engineering tasks to solve some problems. This is not easy all the times, but we have some problems or engineering tasks that can be structured in a way or other. With the use of other IT technologies like AI or programming or computerization, we can make many of our engineering tasks or at least significant, some considerable amount or a number of them can be run through RPAs. Just as an example, we have something in the construction which is delays. Delays go for what we call a delay analysis. Delay analysis is done by a human being. But if we think about delay analysis from a man who worked in the business, in the project management, yes, I can do some structured algorithm to do this delay analysis by RPAs. I'm talking about one example, of course. So this one is a little bit complicated, but it will open the door for too many improvement actually and valuable improvement in the construction industry. That's it for this presentation. Actually, thank you very much for your listening. I just tried to show you part of our journey as a case study. And of course, we are just starting now. We consider ourselves in the very start point. Actually, we still have a long way to go in this journey. Thank you very much.
Omar, this is fantastic. Thank you for sharing your journey with us of implementation of business process management, implementation of digital transformation in the company. So I'm gonna ask you at this point, Omar, I'm gonna bring my camera back on, and if you can stop showing your presentation screen to the audience, so that they can see you in a bigger screen. So yeah, if you go under sharing, the sharing tab on the interface, there's going to be a button there that says stop sharing screen. Perfect, you got it. Excellent. Very well. Thank you so much for sharing this expertise with us. I can very much relate to the journey that you're going through. I spent 12 years on a transformation with an engineering and construction company that was implementing business process management, and it was a very challenging journey. A company with over 100 years of history that then decided that, like you said, these are project-driven companies. Some of these companies' projects are bigger than most organizations in the world. We had projects that are like multi-billion-dollar projects, and those projects are almost like an institution on their own. So when you come in an organization like that and you say, oh, I have a better idea, I have business processes that are cut across all your projects, and I'm gonna come up with some suggestions on how you're gonna do them better. You don't get a whole lot of welcoming open arms saying, yeah, come help me. People are very skeptical, and they look at it and say, hey, listen, what are you gonna tell me about the way that I run my project? So we used to say that project is king, and that this process things is something that bureaucrats do. So tell me a little bit about how do you overcome some of that cultural change that needs to take place, where people understand the value of the processes that cut across multiple projects, and there may be best practices in certain projects that we can, streamline across multiple projects. Tell me a little bit about how did you start talking to leadership about this and selling this concept of process for value creation?
Actually, it was not easy, for sure. This is because the construction industry is a very old industry, and it has very rigid traditions all over the world. It's not only in one area. As you said, people are very skeptical, and they are not welcoming change. So what I'm doing now here actually is something like a very big challenge. That's right. So at the beginning, believe me, people were saying what you are doing is, I don't want to say. So it's nothing. But we tried a lot of, we made several trials actually, and now we are starting to have people have buy-in by people that are starting to be engaged. Now what we did trials actually. Now, for example, we started to talk with people about the process, and they were saying, we are doing this, no need for this, no need for that, no need, no need, no need. We join them in workshops sometimes, explaining to them the errors they are doing and the problems we are finding, like for example, the deviations, some delays, some missing information. So we are sharing with them our experience, what we are finding. We had cases which were sometimes significant, losing some very important like things or documents or information. So these workshops, with our direct communication with people, with a very, very valuable and important management commitment for this. The management support is extremely important because, as I said, the construction industry is not easy. People are resisting change. And the funny thing, after they make a change, they feel happy with the change and they ask for more. And this is what's happening now. The department asking me for more to expedite the work, but there are other departments or projects still doing nothing, and so it's a very, let's say, I don't want to say it's not easy. We have to follow many approaches. We are not dealing with one person, we are dealing with many. We are dealing with different level of qualifications. In any construction, we have people related to our business processes, but have very little qualifications or even study, or some of them they can only write. And we have also people with very high qualifications. So we need to address all these differences, all these changes. And of course, there are successes happening after failures. But we cannot say the whole journey is a success. It's a journey fluctuating, but at the end we are getting lessons, we are learning from our mistakes, we are learning from others, and we are sharing, and becoming better and better. Still, we are at the beginning in this change.
That's excellent. That's excellent. Omar, you did a fantastic job presenting this to us. And there are a number of different questions here. And one of the themes has to do with process ownership, because it's already very challenging in any organization to really capture who is the owner for a process. It's even more challenging in a project-driven organization to do that because you have these processes cutting across all these multiple big projects. So I'm curious about on that question. How are you going about identifying process owners for some of these important processes that you are identifying in the organization?
In the project, internal processes, internal project specific processes, we don't specify one process owner. We specify a role. For example, site engineer, or let's say construction manager, or cost control. So because we don't have one person, or we don't have the same. But sometimes even this is more complicated sometimes, because sometimes we have a small project where we don't have, let's say, a construction manager. So this is also need to be addressed. Fortunately, in our company now, all our projects currently are big. We always have all the titles or designations available. So we go for this thing. Like, for example, anything related to the site, which should be monitored by the site engineer, we say the site engineer. And the site engineer should be taking the responsibility of this. This is what we are doing it. But for other processes, which are the internal, global, or general processes for the company, we have one person. Like, for example, for purchasing, we have one person for purchasing. Resignation or end of service, we have one person for staff, one person for workers, and that's it. But for projects, All these processes that are within, as I said just before, we cannot make one person. We should make designation or like this as a process owner. And we should explain this for people.
That is fantastic, Omar. We are out of time here now, but I wanna say on behalf of over 2,000 global participants who are here listening to your expertise and insights, how deeply we appreciate you taking the time of our incredibly busy schedule to we're in a different time zone here that is challenging as well,
That's
and
right.
we really appreciate you taking the time
Thank
to
you.
connect with us and share this expertise and great insights, and we wish you tremendous success. This, as you said before, it's a long journey, it's an arduous journey, but it's an incredibly rewarding journey when you're truly transforming and bringing positive change to the organization. So thank you for your leadership, and thank you for sharing that with us today.
Thank you very much. Thank you for all. Thank you. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Omar Mourad, leader for the ECC group on their business transformation, and in a very challenging environment, but again, a very rewarding environment. He comes in today directly from Dubai in the United Arab Emirates, and to share his global perspective with our global audience. So thank you very much again, Omar, for that. And this is the last session of our 3 days together for Process Mining Live. For me, it's a real pleasure. It's a true blessing to have all of you in our global community come together and share on the learnings and experiences that we have to accelerate excellence, to accelerate innovation, digital transformation, but also business and cultural transformation. We talk about ideas, we talk about methods, we talk about technologies, and we talk about the importance of people throughout these 3 days. So it's an honor and privilege for me to be the facilitator for an environment like this where great ideas and great people come together. Now, I must say a big thank you to Brian Raffel. Brian Raffel is our conference director. He makes it all happen. It's an incredible logistical challenge to have these global experts coming together with their insights and content and all the hard work that Brian Raffel and the team do behind the scenes for us to have this seamless experience here, leveraging great technology globally. But Brian, thank you so much for everything that you do. This wouldn't happen without your leadership. Big thanks also to Vijay Bajaj, who is the man behind the scenes, the CEO of Proqis Digital, who is bringing this world-class events to all of us. And of course, a big thanks to our sponsors that allow us all to join on these sessions at no cost. And we couldn't do this without the great sponsorship from UiPath and Software AG. So we're very grateful for that. Thank you again for allowing us to and helping us build and create an environment where great people and great ideas can connect. Now, our next conference will be the Business Transformation and Operational Excellence World Summit focused on healthcare. So Healthcare Live will kick off between April 6th and 8th, 3 days with global industry leaders focused on the applications in healthcare. I don't think that there is an industry that has been more severely disrupted during this pandemic than healthcare. And that says a lot, considering the level of disruption that all industries have undergone. So there's a lot that we have learned in this process in the last 12 months. So we are going to be talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly when it comes to this transformation that has happened in an incredible fast pace in the healthcare industry. So we're going to learn the lessons. We're going to share the successes that we have learned in the applications of technology in digital transformation, business and cultural transformation in the healthcare sector. So I look forward to seeing all of you then. And between now and then, you can connect with us, go on LinkedIn. You have received several links on how you can go into the area where we post about this conference, and you can engage with our speakers. You can thank them for their participation. You can ask questions if you wish. I'm going to be providing a short update this afternoon as well on this day 3 event proceedings, and we look forward to staying connected with you. So again, keep on the journey with purpose, with passion, with discipline, and with resilience. Bye-bye for now, wherever you are in the world. Have a great rest of your day. Have a great rest of your week.